to our second episode of Indian Road right here on Cheyenne and Arapaho Television. We're bringing you this show from inside the ONEOK Gallery here at the Oklahoma History Center in Oklahoma City, where we're surrounded by all this wonderful history from every current Native American tribe in Oklahoma. Keeping a strong connection to that past is vitally important to the survival of tribal cultures, but just as important is sharing it with others. Roanoke State Park's Winter Count aims to do just that with Oklahoma kids from all different backgrounds. Here's what happens on a day when you replace cell phones and iPods with drums and teepees.
It's a very nice day. I don't think we could have asked for a better day. When this first started, I kept envisioning snow falling and you guys huddling up but that didn't happen, so this is awesome.
To be down here in what was a winter camp, I mean, it's beautiful. It's like a perfect spot, perfect day.
I am absolutely pleased to where I can almost come to tears. All the support, everyone's showing up.
Minoma Little Hawk was visibly moved with the response to this Winter Count, a recreation of what life was like in this canyon over 100 years ago.
I have ancestral ties here, and it's amazing to be able to share about our life here during the winter camp. I worked for the Ouachita battlefield for almost 3 years, and there we talked about fighting and death and loss. Here I get to talk about life and show what life is about.
There was no shortage of life here. The canyon walls echoed with the sounds of laughter and learning from kids of all different backgrounds.
These paintbrushes are made of bones. They're made.
You know, our kids being native, they kind of didn't really, so this is about what? About us we're already Indian. Why do we need to go there? We're already Indian. And I said, well, some of y'all come from different places. You come from this desert Southwest or from Alaska or from the Northeast or the Southeast. I said, this we're going to be looking at Plainz culture. You're going to be learning something a little different, and you're also going to see some things that are the same. And that's good. So we see that even in our differences, we still have some commonalities, and the main one being respect.
They call them medicine lodge.
They're participating and they're really getting into it, and it looks like they're learning some stuff, and that's good.
Just like the old days, the drum brought everyone together before the day was over.
I was thinking about our ancestors looking down on us, watching us all dance. I was thinking about my grandmother, my grandfather. I was thinking about her aunt who was married to Man on Cloud, who was the brother of Romanos. It's a blessing, and I know that it was meant for me to be here. That's what it's about. It's life, sharing it with everyone, and if we don't share it, it's not going to continue.
All right.
Evidence there that the Native American drum really knows no age limits. When we come back on Indian Road, we'll show you some fantastic Native American dancing, but with a little different spin.
Hey, my name is Cheske Spencer. I know both reservation and city life. But I can tell you, as Native Americans, there are challenges in both worlds. I'm also a recovering addict alcoholic. And I know from firsthand that these things can take your soul and your life. And I lived in darkness for a long time, but it was my choice.
My name is Chris. I'm a senior. What do I do for fun? I don't know, play racing games, I guess. It actually gets pretty intense. My friends and I all race against each other. My mom hates video games. She says, video games will rot your brain, Christopher. I don't think she actually minds it though. She likes it better than stuff I used to do.
I'm Ariane and I'm a poet. I write songs too. I love watching The Voice and Idol. I like to be alone when I write. I guess I like to be alone lots of the time. It'd be cool to see somebody on TV singing a song I wrote. Or maybe it could even be me singing on TV. It's weird to have these thoughts. I never used to think I'd amount to much.
My name is Scott. When I was a kid, I used to climb trees a lot. It was a good way to get away from stuff. When I was up high, looking at people who couldn't see me, it was amazing. Nothing could hurt me, and I was in complete control. It's funny, when I got older, I kept trying to go back to those days, but nothing worked. I was so afraid, and then one day, I saw someone who made me feel that I could do it, watching him strengthen me.
Then I saw somebody who made me want to change. Just seeing how she lived strengthened me.
Then one person inspired me to change. It was like he strengthened me.
You can choose to walk the right path. And when you do, you strengthen yourself, you strengthen other people, and you're not alone. Be strong, be confident, because we're walking the path with you. And together we can strengthen our nation.
Music and dance have always played a large part in Native culture, even though many songs and dances have evolved over the years. Indian Road caught up with two brothers who are still keeping the beat alive, but with a different kind of drum.
So funky.
What's good about hip hop is that it transcends all them lines, like it crosses into everybody. The theme this year was called Bay-Say-T. It's a Arapaho word or phrase meaning it is all good.
And it was definitely all good at the 2012 version of Battle on the Plains.
Yo, what's up? This is Joey from Job Turkeys representing Dallas, Texas.
And there was guys from Kansas City.
I'm C6, now I'm from Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, representing the grouping.
This is Mondo, the Texas Junkie, representing Funktown Flavor from Fort Worth, Texas, baby.
B-boy New from Soul Rivals Crew, from Tulsa, Oklahoma.
This is B-boy Cuervo, representando Monterrey, Mexico. Mi crew, Gravedad Cero, you know what I'm saying?
James Sleeper and Kendrick Sleeper have been disciples of hip-hop for over a decade. The brothers and some friends formed the Hostiles dance crew in their early years, and this year's Battle on the Plains was also a celebration of the Hostiles crew's 10 years together.
They had those parties that they first were calling hip-hop parties. They were bringing people from all different parts of New York.
Like hip-hop came from poor people and the poorest, ruggedest parts in the city in New York. And it came out, it blossomed out of that, and something beautiful came out of it.
Latino, I guess, white people, black people. It wasn't just one color.
Staying true to the roots of hip-hop, the battle featured dancers from all over. Hip-hop may have been what brought the crowd in, but it was the sense of community and respect for other cultures that kept them captivated.
We're trying to promote positive hip-hop because we know what the negative's about. We lived it, through it. We come up from an alcoholic family like most Indian kids. And we kind of fell into that same thing and then found hip-hop, or it found us, whatever way.
The Sleeper brothers are already passing their skills and knowledge on to the next Hostiles generation, but they're nowhere close to hanging it up themselves. They say they won't be for a very long time.
It led us to where we're trying, still trying, 10 years later.
Thank you for everybody.
Tearing up the dance floor native style, as only Native brothers can do. Up next, a man who gets his artistic inspiration from the trees. That's next, right here on Indian Road.
In high school, all you would hear about is how high someone is or how drunk people are.
You're trying to stay strong, but it's hard. it became a lot easier for me just to give in. And so I did.
I lost a lot of friends and I didn't like who I was becoming.
I realized I'd be okay if I didn't do all that stuff. And people seriously respect you for that.
Man, there are people out there just like you.
You aren't alone.
And every voice matters.
You will find that those obstacles that you face don't have half the strength that you have.
There's so much more to life.
I've been able to follow the path that's in front of me. And it's been pretty great.
At the turn of the last century, Native people lived off the land. As times changed, our way of life of growing, gathering, and hunting traditional foods changed. Today, Native people are on the move to help prevent type 2 diabetes. Eat healthy, be active, make wise choices. Our people and cultures hold the answers. We will return to our life in balance.
Where I come from, community comes first. We celebrate our history, our traditions, and our future. With our community on the line, it's time to concentrate and commit to being first again. I'm concerned that childhood obesity affects American Indian and Alaska Native youth more than any other race in the U.S. today. That's why I've joined the First Lady's Let's Move in Indian Country initiative. Together we can eat healthy, be more active, and show our youth how to transform their lives and communities. Be the first in your community to take that first step to change the lives of the next generation. Visit Let's Move in Indian Country to find out more.
Native Americans have always been smart about using the elements, like wood, for functional tools and even weapons. But those same elements can be inspiration for art. Maybe you've looked at a cloud before and seen a horse, or a cat, or some other animal. We talked to a guy who gets his inspiration from the trees.
It does make me feel good to be able to make a bench, like out of this tree that's being thrown away.
For Alvin Scabby, working with wood comes naturally. Some of his fondest memories are spending time with his family in the woods around Hammond, Oklahoma.
I like going out in the country. We went hunting, fishing, swimming, and we got a lot of our food from the land. We ate cottontails, wild turkeys, quail, catfish, soft-shell turtles, we call them. We got them from the river.
He recalls it was his great-grandfather who introduced him to woodworking.
First memory, we're looking for wood to make a bow and arrow set. Now, I go out to Indian land, tribal land, and I find wood like this, and I make benches out of it, mirrors, frames, shelves.
Scabby spent about a dozen years fighting wildfires in Arizona and surrounding states, and getting an up-close look at the fire's destructive power affected the way he sees trees today.
Being a firefighter, I looked at mountains, whole mountains, burned to where there's nothing left but, just stumps sticking up. And if it burned hot enough, there was nothing left but holes in the ground. There wasn't even stumps sticking up when it got real hot. And that's what made me, really appreciate the wood we have around here. We don't have very much, but I don't cut down a good, healthy tree. I cut down one that's dying or somebody's gonna cut down anyway. It's something that I really love, firefighting. If I was young enough now, I'd still be doing it. This will be the back of one.
But he still does a lot of heavy lifting. Many of the wood pieces he works with weigh hundreds of pounds.
You could have picked something easier, like making something much smaller.
Yeah, I like working with wood, this big. I like making things you know, that are bigger. I really don't have the patience to make small carvings, small pictures. You know, mine will be big, sofa size, they call it, wall size, you know.
And it's more than that. The big trees that Scabby works with hold hidden clues. Alvin sees stuff in those trees that sometimes the rest of us can't.
This will be a bird. I'm going to carve the head shape out of it and the neck. And that's probably, I might put a wing on it. And I'm going to put the crescent moon on the side of it like this. These two will be the top, and I get one more, then I'll match them up.
Scabby works on his creations with some help from his friends. Some he's known since junior high. He says there are plenty of trees left, and he's got plenty more ideas.
Whenever I start getting older, then I'll try just sit down painting, or maybe I might even make smaller stuff then. But right now, while I'm young, I want to do this.
At the turn of the last century, Native people lived off the land. As times changed, our way of life of growing, gathering, and hunting traditional foods changed. Many of us became less physically active. Our communities had to rely on less healthy, processed foods. A serious disease, type 2 diabetes, emerged. Today, Native people are on the move to bring back traditional healthy foods and physical activity to help prevent type 2 diabetes. Be active, eat healthy, make wise choices. I know we have the power. Our people and cultures hold the answers. We will return to our life in balance.
I don't know what's in second or third place in most people's lives, but I know what's in first, our children.
Native American youth are the most at-risk population in this country.
And that's why I created the Center for Native American Youth.
We are working with tribes and families to improve the lives of Native American children, and most of all, promote hope.
We focus on preventing teen suicide and shining a light on the challenges Native youth face.
Please help us build better opportunities for Native American children. Visit our website.
You affect other people, even if you don't think you do. People notice your actions. You have influence. You have the power to strengthen your nation. Think about it. What someone sees you do can change their life. That one choice you make strengthens you, strengthens others, and strengthens your nation. I'm Cheske Spencer. I strengthen my nation. Will you?
Growing up in a state deeply rooted in Native American culture and traditions, I know we have a long and rich history to live up to. A history of leaders, heroes, innovators, doctors, athletes. What will the books our children read say about us? What beliefs will they hold? We have to tell them the truth, that everything is possible through hard work and determination. Today, childhood obesity affects American Indian and Alaska Native youth more than any other race. To change this, together we must eat healthy, be active, and empower our youth to transform their lives and their communities. That's why I've joined the First Lady to launch Let's Move in Indian Country. Let's write a story together where all of us do everything possible to improve the health and lives of Native American youth. Visit Let's Move in Indian Country to find out more.
The Oklahoma History Center has the largest collection of Cheyenne and Arapaho artifacts in the entire state. Many of those are on display right here at the ONEOK Gallery inside the History Center. Preserving and maintaining those artifacts takes knowledge, passion, and some cultural understanding.
I grew up in Fairfax, Oklahoma. I'm Osage, so I grew up around, around my family, my grandparents, and had the opportunity to be around those elders and those different people. And I've always liked history. I've always had a passion for it. And so I went to college at OU and majored in Native American Studies. And I just, have always been passionate about Native American history and culture, not just Osages, but a lot of the tribes here in Oklahoma in general. All of the tribes that are here in Oklahoma, current day, are represented in this gallery in one form or fashion, whether it's through artifacts, photographs, the panels, the star chart, any sort of media. We tried our very best to represent, all the tribes here. You grow up as a tribal person or a non-tribal person, and your exposure to American Indian history is limited. And I think so often the perspective of Native Americans isn't understood, and it isn't heard. It wasn't sought out. They didn't want to hear about it. I guess it made the greater society look bad, as a whole. But I think it's important for us as Native people to tell our own history, to know our own history. And that was one of the premises of this gallery, was that we wanted the Native voice to come out. We have, origins, spirituality, languages, lives, dwellings, living ways, sovereignty, and tribes. So those are the 7 core sections that are in this gallery. And the thing that we really wanted to do was to let the Native American voice be heard. So not what we thought, not what we wanted to say about their tribes and their perspective or how they came. We really wanted that, the Native American voice to come out. In the early days of the society, the Historical Society has been around since 1893. So in the latter part of the 20th century and so on, they would go out to like Mohawk Lodge, different local community stores out in Oklahoma. And I think because of the closeness, I guess, from Oklahoma City itself out to the western part of the state where the Cheyenne and Arapaho are, it was sort of I don't know if that's why we have so much Cheyenne and Arapaho stuff, but it's really impressive. It's moccasins, it's teepee bags, it's parfleches, it's dresses, it's clothing, it's dolls. So it's really, really impressive. Our mission, is to collect, preserve, and share, and that's really what we have been doing, as the Historical Society. And there's really been an emphasis on reaching out to those communities that we haven't really had a relationship with before. So it's important to reach out to the Native American communities. And it's important to know that, yes, we have a lot of archival material, but it's available for you all to come in. It's available for you all to research, and we need help. We need help identifying photographs or people, and if we can help, if you all can help us, we can help you. It's just a part of what we do, and that's our mission, is to collect, preserve, and share.
Come on, you're not taking off.
That's my people! That's my people! That's my people! That's my people!
We live in a world that adults have created.
Here are the voices of the Native youth.
You asked us what we thought.
I want to tell you about my people.
My community has a roundhouse
where we continue our ceremonies and traditions.
Our community has a foresight
to give everyone free Wi-Fi.
My tribal council doesn't do a lot for the children.
We care more about tourists and casinos.
My mother is a big player
in bringing back our language.
That's my people!
Diabetes runs rampant in my community.
We lose loved ones at a fast rate.
I care because that's
my people! people!
I love my mother.
Because she never quits.
My father never graduated high school, but he does his best
To make sure our siblings have a bright future.
He's been on his own since he was 12.
He does his best to make sure we don't go through the same thing.
My grandmother was in the boarding school era, but she didn't let that stop her
From creating the language program.
and helping the community heal.
That's my people! Whose people? My people!
I want the people in our tribe to be free
And healthy.
from substance abuse and treat themselves with respect.
They are my people.
And
I care!
When you need someone to talk to.
my cousin is always there.
And would never turn you away.
When you need help.
The salmon ceremony is sacred.
Because it brings our community together.
As one.
That's my people!
Amisho was widely known for being a prankster.
He tried to bring back my culture. When he was a tribal judge.
My great-grandmother
Grew a community garden.
that people ate out of when they were hungry
And she would take the jacket off of her back.
to give someone when they were cold.
Who cares? I care! That's my people!
My hero is my grandma.
Because she was a single mother.
With 8 kids.
And she still traveled to tribal communities to provide them with health care.
That's my people.
My hero is my grandpa.
Because he's basically my dad.
He took care of me since I was young. I could honestly say
He taught me everything I know.
a problem is substance abuse. I want the people in our tribe
To be healthy.
and treat themselves with respect.
They're my people.
And I care.
Who cares? I care because that's my people!
My hero is my dad.
He was courageous.
He showed me strong leadership qualities.
He taught me never to be scared.
To speak up.
I may have lost him at a young age.
But I'm still trying to carry on.
What he taught me.
That's my people!
My sister, she showed me I can get through hard times.
If I just tried.
I love our community's Boys and Girls Club because it gives us a place to chill. My grandma,
Treats everyone like they were her own.
I wouldn't even change a thing on my reservation.
Because I love it the way it is.
My land, my res,
My community.
my village, because that's my people.
Whose people? That's my people! That's my people! That's my people! That's my people! Whose people? My people! Oh, yeah!
In high school, all you would hear about is how high someone is or how drunk people are.
You're trying to stay strong, but it's hard.
It became a lot easier for me just to give in, and so I did.
I lost a lot of friends and I didn't like who I was becoming.
I realized I'd be okay if I didn't do all that stuff, and people seriously respect you for that.
Man, there are people out there just like you.
You aren't alone.
And every voice matters.
You will find that those obstacles that you face don't have half the strength that you have.
There's so much more to life.
I've been able to follow the path that's in front of me, and it's been pretty great.
You're watching CATV 47, K47MU, Concho, Oklahoma. We thank you for joining us right here on Indian Road. If you have any suggestions or story ideas about great things that Native people are doing, please feel free to email us at the address below. Ha-ho! Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on Indian Road.